Everybody got very solemn. Meditatively bobbing our heads. Who wants to fill Elijah in a little bit?
Everybody's pretty intimidated. I'd say the last class was probably the most memorable. It was a poem of Hattie's for the washroom, and it was, I think, very evident that there was a lot of baggage surrounding that area, at least just in terms of the feelings of uncleanliness and guilt and things like that. Well, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that led the way to a very good conversation on sin consciousness versus son consciousness. I think especially for Corbin, because I don't know if we had ever had a discussion around that during his stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was very beneficial for that, and also a reminder for the rest of us, or even a re-explanation for anyone who had never seen it in a certain light before, that I think was very beneficial. I think predominantly I hope it resonated for Hattie, because you could kind of tell based on her poem that at least in regard to the washroom, there was still a lot of I guess guilt in that environment. And I think the encouragement is that your sin is not the most important thing to God, and so it should not be the most important thing to you. God saves us for a purpose. He doesn't just save us in the end, right? There is something that he has in store for each of us. And when we can set our sights on that instead of on our own shortcomings, it allows us to, it allows that cleansing to take place. And so, please, anybody else, feel free to add in where you feel I missed in my explanation.
Yeah, Hattie has a really good way of writing directly from the heart. It doesn't even, unfiltered, it's not even the word for it. You're just getting it straight, you're getting it raw. But, yeah, there was a lot of talking about, like, looking down or being stuck in place. And it wasn't even the poem resolves happily. This is the state of the soul. So Tim went on for a while about sin consciousness and being evidently aware of your failings instead of aware of like where you're going and what you're growing towards. Because by looking at your fallacy and all that, you plateau. You can't continue. And the thing that scared me the most, what he said, was like, you can't just be stuck there forever. That is entirely your choice if you do that. And that's the point where I like shriveled up a little bit. Because I do that. So that was hard to let go of. And Benji prayed over a few of us. It was very helpful.
I think that's the mercy of God, because I don't think there really is a way to escape that cycle on your own. I mean, the entire reason you get stuck in that cycle is because you're so focused on yourself.
Mm-hmm. It becomes, I think it's the same trap as self-improvement. By deciding you need to improve, that means that comes with the realization that I'm not good enough right now, because I need to be better than right now. I've made that decision.
Yeah, and I don't even think.
And I don't think that's never the case.
And I think with both sin consciousness and with self-improvement, it doesn't mean that acknowledging your sin's existence or that trying to improve yourself are wrong things in either category, but it means that making either the highest pursuit in your life will always lead to just a cycle of self-focus that is ultimately fruitless.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you
I'm trying to internalize it as I gotta flip my attitude from, you know, be evidently aware of failings and traps and, you know, what I'm avoiding, and work towards the opposite. I'm kind of trying to flop it on its back of just know exactly what I'm going for, and that's what I'm going for because of my failings. Or
There's a man, Sam Solon, who had a series of videos on the elementary doctrines, and when I watched through them, I remember a lot of stuff he had on repentance and sun consciousness were the things that stuck out to me the most. And I remember something he said about repentance that really stuck with me was repentance is not turning away from something. It is turning towards something else.
yeah, okay.
Tim likes to use the analogy of when he was growing up, him and my mom, when my grandfather was trying to teach them how to ride the bike, he would always say to my mom, do not drive your bike into that pothole, because if you do that, you're going to fall and it's going to hurt. And because my mom was so focused on that
Yep.
pothole and not falling into it, her bike would aim straight for the pothole and she would fall right in.
Mhm.
And so I think that sin consciousness, repentance, all of that follows a very similar principle. When you are focusing on something, inevitably, your thoughts, your life, your actions, all of it start to center around that object.
Yep.
Right? So when you are geared towards yourself as an end, that's all it's going to be. It's going to be this self-perpetuating cycle of self, and it's going to get you nowhere. But when repentance to you becomes not, please forgive me of my sins, but let me turn towards you with my gaze. Let me look upon something that is not just an unending cycle of my own failures
Mhm.
and even on my own successes, but let me instead look at something higher, something that isn't rooted in me. It allows you to turn towards something greater. And that is how you avoid the pothole,
Yeah.
by not looking at it in the first place.
No, the pothole analogy is good. I know from experience, like I struggled with that, and I was like, I kind of got over it. Carter is very much in that state as well, where he is fixated on the failure, and that makes it difficult to, you know, you can't overcome something because you're not trying to overcome it. This is what you're looking at.
How did the other poems go?
In Tim's class, we only got to the one, and then in Noah's class, who did we do again?
It was me and Esther.
Yes, that's right. And both of which actually have a decent amount of correlation, I'd say. I prefer you two, though, to explain your own poems.
Fine. Okay, so mine was kind of me. Benji said it was a creed, but it was me kind of just rebounding, beating back into my head all the lessons I had to give after for just dealing with mortal suffering, and that all stemmed from being stuck after jaw surgery, bedridden for a long time, and it was. I don't know. Is it really best that I just re-describe it or reread it?
Whichever you prefer. If you want to reread it, go for it.
There's only 2 poems in my folder. But, yeah, no. It's called Keep Going. And it's just a methodical, in the present, understanding of the pain's not going to ditch you. It's not going to go away. This isn't a shot. You're not going to blink and it'll be done in a minute. This is what life is right now. And if I can accept that, I can keep going. Also, a lot of understanding of like, yeah, no, if you're thrown to the floor, if this has you by the hair and you are messed up, you can still say, I'm okay. You can still decide. You don't have to decide I'm in control, because you're obviously not. But you can decide, like, I'm going to make it through this. This isn't the end of me.
That's how I felt at work today.
I would imagine this.
Is Noah really that bad?
Yeah, it does have a lot of correlation, I feel like, to what, like Jane was saying, too, what you guys talked about with in the last class, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That tends to be how things work
Mhm.
here, so that's cool.
Esther's was also very related, and I really liked hers.
Yeah.
That's
She
her
had,
song she
she
did.
had a wonderful song for it.
Well, I
Space song.
Even I couldn't tell.
Hey.
If I was closer, you'd be able to pick up on the subtleties a little bit. Just the distance.
Yeah. No, it was a good combo that I think me and Esther went to.
I was thinking about trying to write one too. Maybe I'll still try to do one
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
Oh,
should.
yeah.
if we can. I mean, I won't be able to read it here, but
You can send it on the virtual.
yeah.
Mhm. I think it was a fun project just because,
Yeah, we did one like that.
yeah, no, this is awesome because it wasn't write about this or that. It's pick a song,
Mhm.
which means you threw everyone into the deep end and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but I think it was very good that I wrote about what I did. You also brought up that it was how did I describe it? How did you describe it, I should say? That I'm not talking it wasn't a poem from an intellectual standpoint or an impassioned one, but it was just straight to the soul, I think is what you said. It was harsh, or you said it can be harsh, but
Mm-hmm. It's the opposite of like trying to give someone confidence and assurance by reasoning something out. Like I'm just thinking of trying to encourage someone that's in a difficult situation.
mhm.
Sometimes it is helpful to explain what they're going through and how to get through it, but other times they just need to be told something very blunt and forthright. So, like the name of your poem, just keep going. And what I was also saying is receiving that kind of push from someone and that kind of encouragement. I tend to think of coming from like a fatherly figure who, it doesn't mean fatherly figures don't very often explain things to you in like a more collected and reasoning manner, but I also, especially you brought up how your father tends to,
Yeah,
like
that was
his
very
mannerism.
true.
It
Yeah,
is-
or I rarely get to talk with my father, but
Mhm.
because of that, we really don't have time to ever mince words. He has only talked to me as straight-laced as humanly possible, and then he'll like mess with me in the next sentence.
Mhm.
It's about the dynamic we have, where it's like, there's no room to like lie to each other, not because like, oh, I trust him, I can't lie to him. There's literally no room. If I lie to him now, that's gonna be the standing for the next like 3 years until we can really afford to sit down and talk again. We can only say what matters. That's the only time we're going to have. And that's very solidified because I didn't have much time at all to talk with my youngest brother.
Mhm.
I'm not owed anything, so I can't waste anything. Esther, now it's your poem.
Yeah, I did correlate a lot with all the stuff today. Just the suffering, and I liked a lot of what other people were able to bring out of it, about it being kind of like a cycle. I don't know if most of you guys knew exactly what the experience was.
I guess.
Yeah, it's probably pretty easy to guess. But I just went off an experience that I've had, but was hoping it would be relatable to others and their own kind of experience. Just about what it's like to lose someone. And what actually made me think of that is the line in the song that says, "Tender is the night of a broken heart." Just because of like how empty and lost you can feel that first night when you know they're gone. So tried to kind of go off of that, and then what Benji said kind of was cool, because when I was writing I was thinking like I want to try to make this complete and not just have it end on something where you don't really have any resolution, or kind of resolution, I guess, but, yeah. I appreciate what everyone had to say about it.
What I love most, especially just even in the order that the poems is, Corbin's really encapsulates coming to terms with your suffering and not trying to escape it. But yours was, okay, now that you've accepted your suffering, who do you bring it to? What do you do with it? And at the end of your poem really solidifies that, where he meets you in that tender place. And I think that shows a very tender side of your heart that we don't get to see that often. So I really appreciate it for that reason.
It's interesting that we mentioned two different kinds of cycles today, because during Esther's poem, I briefly mentioned a kind of cycle of suffering and sorrow that we are bound to encounter in life. So I guess that had more to do with circumstances in life, while the cycle that we addressed during my dad's class and that prayer time was one of our spiritual well-being and perspective, which if you're stuck in a sin conscience, then the cycle is
It's internally.
it's one that has no progression. But the cycle that we addressed, while talking about Esther's poem, it's not a loop, it's not a trap. You're not staying in one place. You're actually it's still part of a journey. It is progressive. You are still going somewhere. It's just things do tend to repeat as you make your way through life. And it's a repeating and it's a cycle that actually allows something to grow in you. And when we were parsing out Esther's poem a little bit, we see that the sorrow in life creates emptiness in you, basically. So emptiness is what allows the Lord to fill those places in us that were once occupied by other things. And unfortunately, or maybe I should just say, by way of the nature of things, it is through sorrow and suffering that we are emptied so that something else can fill us. And I'm not just, and the emptiness I'm talking about is not just an emptiness that we feel, say when we lose someone or something that is dear to us. That is just a feeling. It's the emptiness goes even further than that. It is a kind of detachment, for sure. And what's interesting to me is that, I also briefly mentioned this, but things like Buddhism in particular are, the whole idea is to be able to rise above, forever rise above this cycle of sorrow that humans will always and do always encounter when they live as beings on this earth. And so the point is to be able to finally detach oneself from that. But I think that this cycle of things is actually designed. And I'll be more specific there. I'm not saying the existence of things like sin and the sorrow that and death that sin leads to is by design per se. I'm saying the process of life, which includes all experience, it includes all emotions and the wisdom that is gained from that is basically that's what's designed for us to go through in order to grow as individuals. And once again, this ties into the class before that. It's not something that is just the individual's journey, but these sorts of things exist only because there is a realm of relationships between people, which is part of what even forms what we know and experience as emotions or good or bad experiences. Like just looking at what Esther went through, it was losing.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was losing someone, basically. Well, I think it was a doggy in this case, but still, it's there's a lot. I don't want to drift off into another subject here, but there's a lot further to be opened up about how much exists simply because we live in a community of people rather than just from an individual point of view. We take for granted just how much of our reality, our actual reality, is formed by the nexus or the system of relationships that we were born into and raised into, and the manner in which those relationships work, which we call a culture, form the way that we think and feel and respond to everything. Anyways.
Noah, do you know much about the changes that are coming to the Culture Center? I'm not actually asking like practically, but like from your perspective, what you've seen as like what has been noticed, and then kind of what do you think we're moving into?
I was actually just thinking about how we can approach some of those things, but I think it would probably be best to wait until some things are divulged, not because there's any harm in bringing them up, but just because I think it would be a more appropriate order of time to allow things to be communicated, maybe probably especially after they're able to all meet together. So, but I think there will probably be some pretty significant changes that will involve these people here in particular, and I can even point out specific individuals like Naomi and Jaden taking more of a role of leadership and initiation in what we do together. So I'm not even necessarily thinking as like you guys suddenly becoming leaders of a class per se. I'm just talking about even kind of partnering with me to discern how to move forward with what we will be doing together in the Culture Center, because I believe we as young people will be kind of taking over what we do at the Culture Center. Not just because it seems like a good idea, but because this has actually kind of been directly communicated to us by God through a variety of visions. It was also impressed on some of us directly too. So, yeah, subject matters and stuff that we cover in that realm of things is kind of secondary. But it's more so how we kind of reorient the place that we understand each other to have in that time, and then start to activate something new, but do it together and actually take a step up a little bit in what that new or those new roles are. So I don't even know exactly what that looks like myself, so I really haven't held much back there after all. But details, I think, will be shared later too, probably. But I can say that I am anticipating it to be a very positive and beneficial thing, and it is exciting because this isn't just like some new and helpful way of doing things that we happen to figure out. This is, I think, something that has been needing to happen for a little while now. So
What?
just this shift in the way.
Sorry, I got that. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. What makes you feel that way? That like it has needed to change?
A host of things. Just I know some inhibitions have been expressed just about how we are currently interacting in the time. And yeah, this goes well beyond, people hesitating to speak up more and stuff. It's a bit beyond that. So, it's the practical. Once again, we're talking about relational parts of things. The dynamics of certain things have not been in like a bad place. It's just like something needs to change in order for us to get to the place we've been wanting to get for a while now and haven't been.
Was there a
Yeah.
sense of stagnancy? Things
Sometimes
kind of
you can
a rhythm instead of
describe it that
growing?
way. Yeah.
I see it as the good, pleasing, perfect. I mean, just because something is good, it doesn't mean it cannot be improved and better.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess I'll wait to hear what they talk about up there.
Yeah, I'm
I'm saying
curious.
I kind of wish I could have just been in there just to listen,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll get to hear.
yeah. I wonder what forms that will take. Because when I think of people being more active, I think of you just keep chopping the groups into smaller groups, and then don't let anything become super small. Mix them up at once.
To do that.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
that's what I heard back when I worked at just the restaurant, and I was like, bro, I want to be a part of that. And I got here and it was boardrooms.
Yeah,
It's been
there
low.
were some issues that actually came with that at the same time. So
Would it be wise for me to ask about those, or?
I think it's what Noel was saying. The practicalities are all secondary. It's about.
Well, it was the same thing we're addressing in the larger scale, but it was more a micro scale, just with
Oh.
groups. So
I guess that's
they weren't
even,
actually solving an issue. They were just kind of
It was
they weren't really changing
I
that
think
much.
it's even less about just making
different recipes, same
More-
problem.
Mm.
less about making just more improvements. It's about kind of being where we are in a place, but realizing that this time is for a very specific purpose, and if it isn't that, then it has to be apply to the standard again.
Gotcha.
Some recent impression that I've had, and the way I get these impressions is like doesn't make much sense to me, but I still acknowledge them, and I think it's worth bringing up. But it's really simple. But I've been understanding this time we're in now to be one of a lot less conversation and much more doing, is the way I have understood it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So in a way, the maybe the discouragement or awkwardness we feel during certain conversations, like maybe not having certain things to share, not knowing how to respond to certain things, shouldn't be a thing that concerns us too much, because perhaps that is indicating we're in a place to focus more on the things we're actually doing, not just talking about what we're doing or hope to do. Not that there's anything bad about that, and I think part of what will eventually bring renewed insight and energy and life into discussion is when we have reached the new place we can only get to when we have established right patterns of doing, which is all we really are talking about anyway. So it's more of walking the talk before we can talk about the walk. This is rhyming a little too much. Sorry.
That's pretty good.
Sorry. Yeah, I can tell you really appreciated that.
I even think of it's funny you're saying that, because I was actually just thinking last night when I was cleaning the machine, and my thoughts wander as they often do, how much less time we have spent in meetings this year compared to last year. So if you look at last year, we had worship on top of a Tuesday night meeting, on top of a young people's meeting, on top of a young brothers/young ladies meeting, on top of poetry meeting, right? Like we have basically cut in half, if not even more so, the amount of meetings we have per week. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't. Because I think it's exactly what you're saying. While being much less meetings, have noted that since compared to last year, the time I spend with people outside of meetings has shifted significantly to where it was last year. To where when I get together with Benji, it is almost inevitable that we will end up having a very solid time together. Or when I get to spend time with Kayla or Esther, Naomi or Isaac or anybody, I have noticed that the way I spend time with each of you has changed significantly to what it was before. And so I don't know, I don't necessarily have a conclusive statement to make with that, other than just acknowledging what has happened. And I do find that very interesting. That just I'm not saying we have more free time, because I think that all those gaps have been very quickly filled with more work and things like that. But we certainly have less meeting time. And I think that's very intentional, as each has phased out just by the Lord. And I think it's wanting to pull something different from each of us in the ways we interact with each other. And so I also concur. I don't necessarily know what it'll look like with the changes happening, but I really do think changes are good, because you've seen it kind of start to ripple across each of our meetings. And I mean, this was the last meeting that hasn't dramatically changed in some sort of way. You know what I mean? So seeing the change finally reach what I would say is the most integral meeting time that we have is encouraging to me, because you've seen it kind of slowly work its way through everything. And so I think it's certainly the direction the Lord seems to be putting things in. Because it's all kind of just happened naturally. It also makes me just very grateful for the times I get to spend with each of you at work, or just happenstancely running into you wherever, because I guess it allows me to feel like, it's like absence makes the heart grow fond in a way. I mean, I hardly see you anymore, and so almost every time we get to see each other, we have things to talk about, and that's certainly the case with Elijah now, and been the case with Noah for a while, just because I don't get to work with you anymore, and things like that. I mean, I feel like if I'm ever spending time with a person, whether I have to because of work or just I happen to run in with them, I always think, okay, what is the Lord trying to do here? Because I don't think a single one is happenstance. I think every shift that each of us have, every accidental run-in, even every planned like friend hangout, like volleyball or let's go to the park or let's go play with the frisbee, any of that. I think all of it should be viewed under the lens of, well, what are the dynamics here that are at play? What could the Lord be using this for?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've seen those changes happen. This isn't like an extol, like you guys need to be doing this more. No, I've seen that, and I'm encouraged by that. That I see that intent forming more and more within each of us, and so I think this is exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, not being able to be a part of the meeting up there convinces me all the more that I'm not a teacher. So
It's time to learn.
it's final.
Yeah, now I am racked with anticipation. That was a good question, though, Isaac. I don't think anyone else would have poised that.
I'm curious what I'm not necessarily curious in terms of like the practicality, as we were saying, but about what you have planned for those of us what will end up happening with those of us who you said might take more on a leadership position, because it wasn't too long ago. It was like a month ago. I went over to the Cass house and Justin asked if I wanted to be a co-teacher in his class, and I remember very prayerfully and bringing that to other people in my life, and they didn't necessarily give me direction in one way or another. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is gonna have to be a decision I make with the Lord, kind of on my own, which is hard for me because making decisions like that I'm not very good at. But after considering it a lot, I came to the conclusion I don't think that's where I'm meant to be right now as a teacher. That somehow puts me above any of my peers, which I know is not how you are at all. But what you said made me think of that, just with not necessarily shying away from leadership or anything like that, but more of just I feel that I don't know. It's not unworthiness. It's more of just I can't find the word there. I guess I'm just curious to see what the Lord has planned there for that, because it didn't feel like I was ready for a responsibility such as that a month ago, even if the circumstances may change. And I'm not saying that as like this clearly isn't for me or whatever. I'm just saying I am curious what the Lord's vision is for whomever those responsibilities may start to fall on. Because
Sure.
I can just, for myself, I have mixed feelings about such things. Not in any sort of rejecting way. I actually don't have any feelings on it myself. More of, it's what I thought the Lord was wanting from me in that season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I try to hold off on putting any sort of judgments on myself, and very often end up forming my opinions based on either what I hear from others or what the Lord tells me. And so I guess who knows, maybe that just wasn't the right circumstances or maybe the capability. So maybe it was just waiting for this.
Well, as long as I've been leading certain classes, I don't think I've ever felt ready or capable.
I guess it's you have well, obviously I agree. It hasn't ever felt like you put yourself above any of us or anything like that, and I think your heart teaching your class made that very apparent. But I
Mhm.
feel like the position you have been in your whole life of really being able to absorb a lot of Emmanuel's stuff. I mean, I'd say probably more than anyone, you spent a great deal of time under his tutelage. I feel like that has afforded you this sort of, this treasure trove of, is wisdom the right word? Maybe. Teachings, whatever it may be, that even if, I'm not saying that, I think it's just something that is within you, and that I think by you stepping into that role, you not only unlock for yourself, but you unlock for the rest of us. You know what I mean? And I think
My
that's-
perspective of that has been like, I was able to receive a part of what Emmanuel gave to everyone in like a different and unique measure.
Sure.
So I've more and more not seen myself as a singular or even all that unique instance from Emmanuel's impartation to us. I mean, definitely, I think I maybe if unique, then only unique among many other unique instances, like not just my dad and John, but even among the young people like Benji and Isaac and Elijah, and then even the young ladies who didn't really have like the kind of discipleship time with him like the young guys did, but still had received input from Emmanuel, and then others like who did have some discipleship time with Emmanuel, like your dad and Nicole and my mom. Like this, everyone received something really unique, and if what I received is unique, it's only unique among other unique
Yeah.
receiving
I
of from
don't disagree
Emmanuel.
with that at all, and I think specifically what you received is able to be unlocked during that time.
Sure.
I think that's kind of where I was going with that. It's not to put you above anyone.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I
it's
understand you
literally
have
just to
minimal.
say, I think that your impartation is what's important there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, definitely, there's kind of a particularity in the fact that Emmanuel and I together enjoyed the very thing that I am wanting to lead a class
That's
discussion in, being ancient Chinese philosophy and culture. So, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm referring to. Yes.
Okay, yeah, even that is not something I'm carrying much certainty and confidence in, but not just from a point of like it being something I don't think anyone else can understand very well, but more so from a place of still trying to determine really what my role looks like in helping others to
And like I was saying, I don't think that's something that
become interested in it.
Yeah, I don't think that's like a Noah responsibility. I feel like that's something that we're waiting on the Lord's leading in.
Uh-huh.
I just think that I don't know, it makes sense to me, I suppose.
Mhm.
I'm struggling with that. I feel like it's getting overcomplicated. 'Cause we are
Maybe.
I guess I'm just curious what that looks like for others, that's all. Because I'm less clear on currently, like, I don't know if I'm far enough along to see the value I provide to others in a similar way. Do you know what I mean? I still feel very young and early on in a lot of this process stuff. I am comparatively by the rest of you, but that's not even like that's not something I'm hard and fast on or even trying to be.
Yeah, but in the same way you are observing me not raising myself up above others in even like a teacher sense, then at the same time you should be encouraged that that's not what I'm asking of anyone else.
Sure.
But it's going to be more of a place of, I mean, I did say leadership, but leadership looks, the other word I use alongside that is initiating, which those two words together suggest someone who helps keep things on a certain track of discussion, basically.
Sure.
And we don't have really anyone in our midst who tends to,
Derail.
well, I mean, I think we actually all still struggle with that a little bit, but not in like an insistent, like really problematic way, but just kind of in a natural
I think the way it
way. And
happens
so
is-
what that requires of people in a place of leadership and initiative responsibility is they know what the track is and they know what the direction is, or they have a sense of it. But instead of asserting that over others, they lead without doing anything in a way.
Yeah, the effortless action.
In a way, yeah. So that is something I'm still I'm still working out and I'm still learning to do. But with certain changes coming, I think that's going to be all the more available and possible for us because of I think what will be a renewed atmosphere of engagement for us, and coming to realize just how much is waiting on our taking things seriously and initiating things. And when I say our, I'm talking about us young people.
Yeah.
Young people in particular. Yeah.
Sorry, I mean all of us and all of us in this room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So again, it's going to be a lot less a matter of discussion and imagining and planning how things look like, and it's going to be more walking into it. Again, that's the impression I'm receiving a lot is,
Action, not
yeah, there's a lot more to do than there is to say.
gives you something to pray on.
Mhm. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to do that because these changes are coming pretty soon, and they're changes that will be coming as a result of and will be what lead to the overall and general changes for our community. Generally speaking. So that's why it's a very good matter to keep in prayer and expect and be ready to walk into. So
I'm always I guess a little surprised at just how fast the Lord moves in such things. I even think of us moving here, like 2021. It didn't even feel like real. Like, what was the timeline for that, Isaac? Do you quite recall? You good with dates? Like, based on like when we decided, oh yeah, let's go to Washington, to like then actually moving out here. Like, wasn't it within the year?
Took about a year. No, I don't know.
It was low.
I feel like it took about a year.
It was probably like 9 months when we like figured out and like first heard Springhaven.
those were the cold COVID days.
The
when we got shut.
idea, the
Yeah,
beginning.
Dia was around for a while.
A year. When it started happening, yeah.
It's just crazy. Like within 9 months.
Because then your dad and grandpa came out, looked at the house.
Because I just remember earlier that year we were talking about Arkansas.
I remember I heard about that. I was like,
Gracious.
That would have been crazy.
And then I remember the conversation kept developing. I'm like, I don't like that we're still talking about this. And then it moved to Washington. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. And then within like 2 months we were like, moving. I'm like, what is going on? How is this real? Because I remember I guess we kind of had a slow drip move before that where it took place over the course of many years, building the house and all that. And so just to have so many changes to our life happen like that, it was just like something strange is brewing here.
Yeah, I couldn't be more grateful. If you guys didn't get a hold of Granny, you never would have met me.
Oh no, this is technically they.
I know you're talking like 2001, but like,
We
yeah.
are separate packages.
no, everything
2001, I
happened.
wasn't even born yet.
No, yeah, what about?
I'm teasing you, Corbin. So, yeah.
I was born 2001. Oh, I'm the oldest one, right? I'm 24.
Yep, you're older than me.
Yeah. I'm the teacher now.
Okay, fine.
No, I couldn't do it.
I never was.
lesson one.
Lesson one. I don't know. My first thought was like, well, I got better hair than me. What do I do?
What?
Just your older age.
Nah.
Oh, it's sad, it's sad.
No,
I'm the only gallon not wearing a hat.
Lesson 1, put on a hood. Just kidding.
No, that's what I learned getting into this. Take off the hood.
Just kidding. All right. I guess one of the quiet girls can pray for us. This might take a while.
Lord, we just give you thanks for the expression of your love through the many hearts that are united and gathered here. I pray that we would not miss out on your works, but that our hearts would be all the more for you. I thank you that you are revealing yourself not through words said, but through the actions and hearts of your people. Would you show us how to love like you do? And to be about your business and your ways? Thank you for taking care of us in every season of life. I pray that we would move forward and hope that you will do